honestly, I did not see a good name because people kept on commenting down void for Deku's name in this what if, or villain name, which I do not like. So I just forgot the name that I was gonna call him. Deku would be named Virgil in this what if, okay? His name is Virgil. If that's a Devil May Cry reference, if you guys don't know that. Which is the pretty much kind of like the main character, but like there is an animated version of Devil May Cry. If you guys don't know that, but it's Deontay's, I think, brother. I'm pretty sure, something like that. So his name would be Virgil, and Virgil would not have a twin brother or Deku. I'm just gonna call him Virgil because it would annoy you guys. I don't know, I'm probably still gonna call him Deku sometimes, but he would be born in a family with the same person of Inko and all that, but the difference is Inko is not nice. Her and her husband do not want Deku, and they never did. So, up in one day, while Deku is around 6 years old, with them in the backyard acting like a hero, swinging a stick around, saying no fear that I am here, he'd walk in the house, seeing almost the furniture all in there, and he was never allowed in his parents' room. He has seen glimpses of it, so he knows what it looks like. But he would walk in, seeing all of their stuff gone. The fridge would be empty. The sofa would be gone, except that one sofa chair that was in the house whenever they got there. And his bed would be there. As he'd be alone. As Deku would sit in the house for a couple days until he got hungry and would have nothing to eat. As he would walk out and he would look for something to eat. Walking into a store, as he would have stolen. What would he steal? I wouldn't say he'd be smart, so he'd probably just steal something. I don't know. I'll say, no, he would steal rice balls. He would steal all of it he could fit into his shirt, as he holds it as a bag. As the man would see him dash out of the store, he would run after him, grabbing him and punching him in the face, throwing him into the ground. As Deku would look at him with an angered face, or Virgil, as he would have bit him in the leg, as the man would kick him in the side, throwing him to the ground. As one of his rice balls that he took would fall to the ground and would bust open and smash against it, the man would leave it, as Deku would pick it up and eat it, as he would get off and wonder. As Deku would do this several times, he would not be any good at stealing. He usually gets away with some bread or something, and he would get water from water fountains anywhere, and so he would be like this for a couple days, until he would see a man who just seemed to not be noticed by anybody, would sort of turn elusive and unsee-through and disappear as he would walk through a store's wall and get in and pick up stuff and walk out with drinks and all that appearing out of it. The man seems to not be noticed by anybody else, except when he walks by Deku, you'd see him follow him with his eyes. As he looks back, as he sees his clothes ratty, all ripped open and all that, and he seems to have bruises, he'd throw him something to eat, which Deku would take and eat it. Which the man would lean down and say, "What is your name?" Deku would just eat the food and say, "My name is Virgil." And he'd say, "Virgil, huh? That's a weird name, because it is Japan." And he'd say, "What of it? What's your name?" As the man would say, "Just call me Ghost." As he says, "You talk about weird names even though you call yourself Ghost." As he would say, "How about be a little more nicer to people that just gave you something?" As he'd say, "Come on with me," picking up Deku and holding him up, as Deku would try to swing out of his grasp, as he would see him open up a portal and jump through it, ending up back at his spot where he's seen him. As he would go over there saying, "That's a pretty nice quirk. If you had that quirk, why don't you just steal your own food?" As Deku would say, "Because I can't really control where it takes me or goes, so I cannot use it to get food to me. Because if I would have used it to steal something, it could end up on a roof somewhere else." As he says, "Why don't you try to go through the portal whenever you run from people? Because you'd say I might end up falling from the sky." And so he says, "So you need to train your quirk. Then come with me, I'll teach you how to. My quirk was tricky whenever I first discovered it. All I could do is be invisible to people. Sometimes I can only be visible to one person, while I'll be visible to other people. So come with me." As Deku would, as he would have came to a place like his hideout, as he would turn on the TV, Deku would be flipping through channels since he hasn't used the TV, and I'll say for 4 months. As he would come across the news, and he'd see Ghost's face, and he would be called Ghost on there. As he says to him, "So you're wanted?" Say, "Yes, I'm sort of a thief, you could say. But I'm not all that bad. You know, the wealthy people of this world are horrible. And they can abuse this power to pay for quote-unquote villains or quote-unquote bodyguards to take out people and use poor people to their advantages, since they would never, no police officer would believe them. So I steal from them and give it to people that need it." And he says, "You do this all by your own?" He would say, "Yes, I wanted to form an organization that helped me with it. And you can be my first person, since your quirk would be useful if you can use it correctly." And Deku would of course accept, saying that I just need some profit. And so he would stay there with Ghost, building up with other people. which would be a couple people who would join. One of them would be a old military person, a military. He would have been a pilot in the military. He was a so he would be able to sort of trick people. His quirk would be called con artist, or that's what it'd be similar to, where he can trick people into thinking that he's qualified or meant to be there. It'd be used to infiltrate any get-togethers with people there and homes to pretty much get some profit and to trick people into buying stuff. This girl would have the ability to she's pretty much the hacker, since she can hack into bank accounts where most of the money lies. Her quirk is named Tech, which allows her to create a persona inside digital devices and use them for her own. The bigger the object, the more stress on her head it is. So if she would to take control of like a wrecking ball thing that's remote controlled, she would cause major stress to her head. Sorry if there's a whole bunch of the background noises just stopped. I just got something to eat and drink. And so the last person, our new recruit, he's more of Plan B squad, which would be him and Deku, which would be Plan B. That's if something goes bad, like on foot. That's where like the con artist would have came in and played, and Ghost if they ever get caught. Deku and him would pretty much teleport in. He has a normal strength quirk, but his strength quirk is really strong for somebody stronger than most pro heroes, but his speed is pretty much mediocre. Like, he can run, but he's not fast at all. So yeah. And so yeah. Deku has mastered his quirk, or to a certain degree. He can at least figure out that he can cut stuff with his quirk by opening up portals into them, which would cut them. Which he mostly uses to break down any vault doors, if they ever have one. And sometimes if Ghost can't do that, since if he goes through, he might cause an alarm to open up or come up, and he cannot transport as much stuff as with multiple people doing it. And Deku can pretty much he can cause cameras to not break so their signal doesn't go out, but he can teleport like them to a different bank, or like looking at like the street lights or anything like that. But their first target of Deku being older, he would be around, he's 14 now, with them having a bigger heist, and they have a name for themselves. They are considered villains in the eyes of heroes and the people that they steal from, but there's a lot of controversy since they do help people that are struggling, but they're still villains in heroes' eyes. And so a lot of richer families have hero bodyguards now. since they have stolen ten over 25 billion yen, since I don't know if that's a lot or that's a lot, but if it's not like over 200 billion yen, I don't know what yen goes for, so yeah. But they stole a lot of money, is all you need to know. And they even gave it to like a whole like city. They paid, and the people that made it are not giving up any information on this, since they just made a whole city even better. But their target today would be a certain family, which would be the Yorozu family is their target. Yorozu, I can't say their name. Yadorozu, Yadorozu, Momo's family. Since they're one of the top companies that they run, have the most expensive, or they have the most money. And so the plan is to talk to them, con artists, or I call him Vic. I'm calling him Vic. Vic would be using his court to make himself seem like the representative or like co-owner of the opposing company, like rival company, which would be the Tech family, which would be the family of the girl who was in the license exams with the intelligence quirk that drank tea. So he would use this to lead them into a conference and calling up people from, the the company, since he made them think that he is part of the company and a very high ranking one. But of course, his corp does have limits, so if he gets in a call with the actual owner of the company, they would know that's not true. So, of course, he would have got them into all that, and he would be able to locate information of where the money is held at in the family, in the whole household, in areas by a device that, well, let me think of the name. Vicky, she's name's Vicky, but the hack girl. I'm gonna call, yeah. I didn't write down their names. I just said, I hate myself because I just put down, think of something, and that's not working out. Yeah, it's Vicky from, what was it, Very Odd Parents, yeah. Vic and Vicky, wow, I think I just got a lot of V's right now. But she would have used this to gather information and would to be able to pick out certain people from the crowd by how they move, so if they know if there's any guards anywhere. And as they would do this, they would find at least 3 people that move differently from the crowd, and one of them is in the area that seems to be underground, that's standing there, which that would be a pro hero, as this information was given to Ghosts. And deku, or what was it? I forgot it, but given to Deku. So Deku would have opened up a portal, visualizing the area, and getting camera feedback from Vicky to open up a portal close to the area, as ghosts would come through and would see who it is, as he would make himself invisible to the guy, as Deku would turn the cameras and open up portals to places where he's not at, as they would not see him in the cameras, since that is a weakness of his quirk. So he would have walked through, and the hero would be Crush, or Crust. I don't know how they say his name. And since this is one of the higher ranking pro heroes, he'd say that they must have paid him a lot to get here. As he would walk through, as Deku would have said, wait, as he would open up a portal in front of him, and you come in, saying that was close, since that area is full of traps, it seems. And so, they would open it back up, and you would do the same thing to the cameras, facing them into different directions. Still in the vault room though, he would walk in, and he would have used powder, like those movies where they blow powder and it shows up all the lights and all that. As Ghost is told to go underground to look everywhere. Think of it, oh my god, I'm about to do a Minecraft reference, like free cam hack, or like game mode 3, I think, where you can like see caves. And so you would notice where stuff is, if there's any traps or alarms anywhere, and they would make it through. But as they get there, and Deku teleports through the vault, they would be right in the middle of the trap. As alarms would go off, and this would be a setup, since they know they're going after people with high money. And the Yalorozu, oh my god, I tried. Momo's family has the highest amount, almost the highest amount, like the largest amount. They would know go after him, and Crust would go through the doors, and he'd battle them. As Deku would, of course, make sure his identity's not found, since he still goes to school. And he would open up a portal, as I'll say, they just call him Bull most of the time, but come through, and he would be there, as Crust would try to fight him, as he would be punching through his shields. As Ghost would be disappearing out of there, and he would be trying to get out, but he would see as there's other heroes there, and he noticed that there's a Aizawa, so he focused most of his power on making sure Aizawa can't see him, since he can cancel his quirk if he looks in his direction. But that would cause one of the heroes to be able to see him and point towards him. So Aizawa would be looking around, just seeing how to cancel his quirk. But Deku would of course open a gigantic portal, where he would walk through and block Aizawa's line of sight. As he would open up another portal in front of the heroes, as he would stab his blade through it, throwing a blade through it, make them have to dodge it, and he made all the portals link up to each other, so the blade would come back and he'd close the portal. As somebody would try to reach through it, but Aizawa would stop him, saying, study of his quirk shows that if somebody would have did that, your arm would have been cut off. As they're still trying to get some profit out of this, and they're thinking away. They're not really well known for taking hostages, and they don't really do that much unless the situations call for it. And this situation does, since they are like family, so they would not leave Bull there. So, deku would use this time to grab their daughter, which would be Momo, and take her to the hideout. And this is where I'm going to end it off, since this is already 25 minutes long. Oh my god.